Position as city attorney has begun, and public advocacy lawyer Cory Briggs is running.
He joins us now to tell us about the update, the campaign. Cory, you would make history as the first city attorney with 3 rings in the left lobe.
That's a true statement.
On more serious topics, Cory, this has been something that you know, a lot of people have talked about. They're familiar with you and your involvement in the city because as an environmental lawyer, you'd sued the city a number of times. And I remember last time you were here, we visited, you spoke about, yeah, I've sued the city and I've seen what it's done, and now I want to be on the other side of it.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So what we want to do on day one, 3 things. First, we're going to establish an anti-corruption unit. Secondly, we're going to establish a quality of life unit. And third, we're going to establish a residents advisory committee. The reason we need an anti-corruption unit is because, as most people in this town knows, there's way too much corruption going on at City Hall. The city attorney's office is supposed to be the prosecutor for those things. But instead, the city attorney's office does favors and turns a blind eye to an awful lot of corruption. You have conflicts of interest, misuses of money, violations of the campaign finance laws, and those things go unprosecuted. We need to get rid of that. On the quality of life issues, I'm sure your viewer knows we have a scourge of scooters. We have a housing crisis caused in part from short-term vacation rentals taking homes that would be available for occupancy by residents off the market. None of those have been prosecuted, and they're all illegal. So unlike my opponent, who has fundraisers conducted by lobbyists for those industries, I'm not taking any money from lobbyists, but more importantly, we're going to prosecute the businesses that make money off of ruining our neighborhoods and our communities.
Cory, as an attorney who has sometimes gummed up the works on projects like San Diego's or SDSU West, looking at that press conference from a week ago and looking at the plans for that stadium and expansion for San Diego State University, am I going to live long enough to see that happen?
So, you said gummed up projects like that. I've had no litigation over that. In fact, I represented Donna Fry in supporting Measure G, SDSU.
But you understand what I'm saying. As an attorney who has sometimes slowed projects down for environmental concerns.
As somebody who knows how it works
Yes.
on the inside and how they screw things up, I'm optimistic, but frankly, you have a number of problems. The city attorney's office insisted on confidentiality. And because of that, the public doesn't know what's going on. And just as bad, you know, there was a news conference last week, council members don't know what's going on. That sort of thing has got to stop. Will it happen in your lifetime? I hope so. I think the public is getting tired of waiting, tired of being in the dark, tired of bad decision making. It was voted on last year. It should have already been done. I think there's movement to get it done. If it's not done by the time I'm in the city attorney's office, certainly it will get done shortly thereafter.
The issue of short-term vacation rentals has been something that the city attorney's office is very involved in. This is something that residents feel very strongly about on both sides of this issue, especially in the city of San Diego and our beach communities. Mara Elliott has said that they're illegal, that the short-term vacation rentals are illegal. Where do you stand on that issue?
Yeah, she said they were illegal to get elected. She wrote a memo concluding correctly that they're illegal and that she's prosecuted nobody. They are illegal. They need to be shut down. We need to go after the companies that make it possible for individuals to do this easily. We need to go after the companies that are making rapacious profits by keeping rental houses off the market for San Diegans. I would simply prosecute them. There's a statute that allows us to do that. We would send out notices shortly after I take office, and if they don't comply within 30 days, we're going to start the prosecutions.
I mean, really, your complaints on a lot of times of the office as it stands now is that it is not enforcing a lot of the rules. I mean, you mentioned the scooters earlier, so saying that she's just not taking action on the things that she should be taking action on.
She talks a good game, and then she has fundraisers or takes money from the people who are benefiting from the lack of prosecutions. That's unacceptable. There's a reason the city has not been successful on a lot of big issues. It's because you have insiders who control City Hall, and in order to get what they want, you have to ignore the rules. And our top law enforcement officer is consistently ignoring the rules, and people are profiting from it. The San Diego residents are the ones who are losing and suffering. We have to fix that. We have to turn that around.
It sounds to me like one of your selling points, campaigns are sales projects in a sense, you're trying to sell the voters on yourself, is that you know the playbook. For instance, you're sure to, if elected, encounter someone like yourself on the other side of the legal aisle, correct? Do you feel that puts you in a unique position, that you know the tactics, you know the strategies, you know what works?
Yeah, look, when you work against the city in court, you have to know the way it's supposed to work in order to identify what it is that they're doing wrong. For 20 years, that's what I've been doing. So I have a very good knowledge, very good working knowledge of how the city is supposed to work. And sadly, I have a really good knowledge of how it's failing to work. Those are all benefits. Folks can see that even though we have an incumbent right now who claims to be working on these issues, just nothing is getting done. So if I'm in there, yeah, I will put all of my experience to good work for the taxpayers.
How do you go about working with some of the other agencies that it takes to crack down on some of the issues that you mentioned, as far as enforcing the short-term rentals, enforcing the scooters? Mara Elliott recently introduced the gun storage ordinance, which many of her critics said, well, it's an unenforceable rule. It was just a point of getting elected and saying,
It's
look
a
how
political
strong.
stunt.
Okay, how would you go about enforcing some of these things? I mean, don't you need cooperation from law enforcement? How would you change that and in fact enforce these rules?
So, some things you need the police officers working with you, right? There are incidents, people call them, they arrest people, they bring them in, and they're charged. But a lot of things that the city attorney's office does are initiated by the city attorney's office itself. For example, all of the oversight over campaign finance, conflicts of interest, public contracting, things like that, that's all. It starts and ends in the city attorney's office. So I don't have to be working with other agencies. Of course, we'll cooperate if they have information, but we're not dependent on them in order to do our jobs. Scooters, we're not dependent on anybody to do our jobs. Short-term vacation rentals, we're not dependent on anybody to do our jobs. All of that we do starts and ends in-house.
In negotiating with the city.
Is your success as an attorney somehow working against you? You're almost like trying to clean out the swamp here in San Diego. Do you feel like there's that never Briggs element, that they just, because of your success, will always resist you?
Yeah, I don't get hung up on those folks. To me, it's a badge of honor that there are people at City Hall who don't like me, because I'm always on the public side. And if those folks are against me, it means they're against the public, which means I'm doing the right thing.
Well, then, I think we end on that, Cory.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming in, Cory
Thanks, Paula.
Briggs. A long run, so we're going to continue to follow up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to take a quick